Cool.
Maybe we embrace.
Oh, yes.
All right.
I wouldn't see you.
If we're all ready, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. We are joined now by Nelly Korda here at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Nelly, just finished the Pro-Am, probably had a practice round yesterday. What have you made of the course and your time so far here at Sahalee?
Yeah, gosh, it's such a beautiful place. Definitely have to hit your shots out here. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get to play in 2016. My sister did, and she just told me you really have to hit your shots out here, especially your tee shots. And it's just a really beautiful golf course as well. So you kind of get lost in the nature out here.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up. Anyone want to start yet?
Nelly, you guys have played up in Vancouver, down in Portland, kind of similar Northwest kind of courses to this. Is there anything you can take away from those experiences at Shaughnessy and Columbia Edgewater to kind of bring out here?
No, not necessarily. I mean, probably the only thing that you can kind of take away from that is maybe in the mornings it just doesn't fly as far. It's cold in the mornings, even this time of year, versus maybe, anywhere else that we play. So other than that, I mean, it's just a completely different looking golf course than Portland and Vancouver that we played last year.
Sarah?
It looks really narrow off the tee, and for a player that I know likes to hit her driver, I mean, how many drivers are you going to be taking this week, and what kind of golf are you trying to play out here with those narrow tee shots? Yeah,
I'm still going to be aggressive. There's a couple holes where I can't hit driver, but majority of the round I will be hitting driver just because you don't want a longer club into these greens. I mean, yes, the tee shots are pretty intimidating, but the greens, the second shot in is pretty tough as well. So overall, I mean, if you have the length, you may as well, you have to hit it. And this is a type of golf course where you just got to sack up and hit your driver.
I know, obviously, the last major we were at was at Lancaster, and I know that prep will probably look different than this prep. What have you been working on coming into this week to really get yourself ready for another major test in such a short amount of time? Yeah, I feel like there's so many majors coming up and so many big events. I mean, they're two completely different golf courses, with obviously Lancaster being super undulated. I mean, that was such a hard test, and it was just an amazing golf course. But off the tee, it was narrow, but it wasn't as maybe intimidating with the tree line. I think the rough was a little thicker there than it is here, but I mean, if you hit it a little offline here off the tee, I mean, you have a bunch of trees in your way, so you're pitching out majority of the time. But yeah, I mean, I approach every tournament the same and differently. I'm just trying to make a game plan for this week, and every week is just a refresh. And then I know one of the big storylines this week, in addition to just this major championship, is the Olympic period ends on Monday, which I'm sure everybody's relieved about for those that are qualified. Reigning gold medalist, what's it mean to just be able to go back to Paris, and how excited are you to be there in like a month and a half? I have never been to Paris, and the one thing I'm really looking forward to is the croissants, probably on every corner. I love bakeries, and I love baked goods, so that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. And obviously, representing my country and getting to compete in the Olympics is such an incredible opportunity, and I'm just super excited to get there and even just play that golf course. I mean, I got to watch it in Ryder Cup, and to be able to play such amazing golf courses like we do nowadays will be such a treat. What's the over-under on strokes gained croissant? I don't know. I've definitely been crushing too many recently.
All right, we'll go to Babs and then Beth Ann.
Nelly, when you're at a brand new venue, what's your normal process to learn a place, and do you do that pretty quickly?
Yeah, I try not to overthink. I try to really, I don't like to practice at events. I'll see, where I need to hit it and where I can't hit it, where, I'll draw some X's on my yardage book, and then I'll also, put in my yardage book where I can be aggressive, where I can't. So, and then after that, I mean, it's just about playing the golf course. I mean, you can write as many things into your yardage book, and you can pick a game plan that you want to execute, but typically, it doesn't happen that way, and you just got to adapt. So everything's about adapting, and that's why I like to go out and just playing the golf course and just seeing the game that I have that day and try to adapt.
And a lot of people would assume at a missed cut you wouldn't pull anything out of that, but it seems like you could pull momentum out of how you drove it on the Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I try. You can dwell on the negatives, but that'll never lead you anywhere. So you try to look at the positives. I did hit it really actually good on Thursday afternoon. My course management wasn't very good. I was flying my pins, and I was leaving myself in really tough spots and on kind of bumpy greens in the afternoon. It's kind of hard to be aggressive with your putting and to kind of gain confidence from that. And then I did have a good round on Friday, and I drove it really well. So trying to take the positives from that. But that's golf. I mean, I'm going to go through these situations so many times where I feel like I'm playing really well, and then I'll go through a little lull where golf is the hardest thing in my life right now. So I feel like that's what grows myself as a person, and that's what makes me appreciate the sport so much, and that's what makes me appreciate the wins and the highs and the good shots and the crowds out there as well.
Beth Ann?
Nelly, after having so much build earlier in the year as you're winning, does the vibe feel different coming into this week? Is there less pressure on you, you think?
I feel like pressure is privilege, and that's something that you're the only one that can kind of control that. You can listen to the outside voices, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you have pressure, then you can take it in a positive way that you are doing good and you are playing well. I'm just going to stay in my bubble this week, and I'm going to go out and try to execute my shots, be confident in what I have. And this golf course is already hard enough. And if I'm going to put more pressure on myself, then I think it's just going to make it even harder this week.
Juan?
Nelly, can you tell us about the champions dinner last night? I mean, what was the best part, and what do you enjoy the best?
I mean, the dessert was pretty good. Ronnie picked the menu. We had tomato and burrata for our appetizer with some sushi, and then some really good scallops, steak, broccoli. I mean, can't go wrong with that. And at the end of the night, they asked us, everyone had to speak, and everyone asked what their favorite Broadway show and what their favorite movie was. And I think 3 of us were like, we've never been to a Broadway show, so I have not been to one. So maybe eventually I will be. I don't spend too much time in New York, but it was nice. It was very intimate, and it was actually my first time doing a champions dinner, just because in the years prior with COVID and everything since my win, it's been quite tough. But it was cool to get us all in a room with everyone.
Nelly, any of the holes out here in particular make an impression on you, either due to their difficulty or just the way they present themselves?
I think they all are super, super tough. And, number 1, the tee shot, that's going to be your first tee shot of the day. I mean, that's a really hard hole. And then the par 5s, I mean, something like 11 or like 10 and 11, those 2 holes, with the water on the left on 10, and then kind of having to sack up on 11 and kind of take it very close to the left side tree line. But overall, I think every hole looks a little different, but they're all intimidating and they're all great in their own way.
Beth Ann?
When So-Yeon Yu gave her retirement press conference earlier this year, she talked about the fact that she never really enjoyed competition. She wasn't a very competitive person, which is interesting for a former number 1 player in the world. I'm wondering if you have an early childhood memory of when you realized how much you do love competition, and it doesn't have to be golf related.
Yeah, I grew up very much so like hanging out with the guys. Like I was always during recess, during class, I was always the goalie in playing with the boys, or we would be playing tag, and I feel like the adrenaline and the fun that you had like playing against people and competing, I've had since a really young age. And even we've played sports since we were really young in our family. But like competing, I think back in the day, my sister and I played the same exact FCWT, I think, somewhere in Florida, I don't even remember. And I won my age group and she won her age group at the time. And like those little moments from like competing and just looking back, I think that's kind of what fueled my competition. For me, I love the competition in the game. Like I appreciate every golf course that I play. Like I think I'm not a huge golf course nerd in a sense where I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is like spectacular, like, but I'll more of appreciate every golf course that I've played, and I just love the competition playing week in and week out against the girls.
And this is kind of random. Did you happen to see or listen to Roger Federer's commencement address at Dartmouth?
I've seen snippets of it, yeah.
Did any of it resonate?
It is funny how he's only won, like 53% of his points in his lifetime, and that's the same thing with golf. I mean, they get second serves, and maybe, if we mess up and we make a big number on a hole, it's a little bit more penalizing than, if they double fault, let's say, depending on where they are in their match. But it's true. I mean, you're going to fail more than you win, and I think that's what fuels a player as well in sports.
Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap up with two more here. We'll go Babs and then Sarah.
Nelly, back to the Champions Dinner. What was your favorite movie, and who was your favorite athlete?
Yeah.
What Broadway show do you want to see?
So athlete, pretty easy, Nadal. Broadway show, I don't know, probably Lion King, just because I love lions, and that was one of my favorite actually movies growing up. Now that I said that, I don't really know if I have a favorite movie, but a show that I watch every single day is Friends. It's like, it's just a show that like I put on when I fall asleep, and when it's just like a feel-good show. I laugh at it every single time, no matter how many times I watch the same exact episode. I pick up on something else every single time.
Sarah?
I know, obviously 21 was such a big year. You've come into your own this year. You seem so much more comfortable. You seem super confident. How much, and I feel like I ask you this every single time you win, but just how much fun are you having with all of what's been going on this year, with everything you've got going for you off the golf course and on the golf course? How enjoyable has this experience been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can kind of dwell in, as athletes, we're never home, we're traveling so much, but I look at it like I get to do what I love for a living. I get to hopefully inspire the next generation. I love seeing the little kids out here. I mean, last week I was like 4 over through I don't know how many holes, and these little kids were giving me like fist pumps, and they were like, good job, and I'm like, thank you. I'm like 100 and something, but thank you. And so that to me is like so much fun doing that out here. And then I have such an amazing team that we always keep it so light, so fun, and we all just, there's no filter, and we just all understand each other. And I love traveling, and hopefully, I love competing, and inspiring the next generation.
Cool. All right. Thank you for your time, Nelly.
Thank you.